Glad to see all of you in large numbers. Moving ahead, I'm going to explore a very unique topic, which is platform banking. Global banks are few steps ahead in platform banking, and they're actually having a deputed person like a chief platform officer. They have created this post globally for many banks. But we will explore how Indian banks are actually looking at this model with the emergence of digital. Indian banks have also adopted various models, whether opening their APIs, aggressive use of data and analytics, and partnering with fintechs, and much more. But what we have to explore here is what is their strategy for the platform banking. And in this fireside chat, I have with me Akhil Handa, the CDO of Bank of Baroda with me. Akhil, glad to have you here.
Hi, Amol. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today.
Thank you so much, Akhil. And let's begin. The platform banking has been very interesting thing globally. Global banks are far more ahead in terms of a lot of new activities like platform banking, embedded finance, and so much there. Let's shift our focus specifically to Indian banks and maybe Bank of Baroda. So, what is the biggest benefit of platform banking for banks, and what is the strategy when it comes to platform banking specifically for Bank of Baroda, Akhil?
Sure. No, look, I think, platform banking, the emergence of it is firmly rooted in two things. One, it is the whole shift of commerce from physical to electronic channel, and the rise of e-commerce. And some say that the pandemic has really pushed the e-commerce shift in terms of channel mix by about 10 15 years in some geographies. In India also, I see a very similar pattern. So I think the rise of e-commerce, the rise of customers becoming very digital and digital friendly, and them demanding more products and services from all industries, specifically from banking, electronically, is giving rise to platform banking. It is, the same wave is sweeping geography upon geography across the globe. And I think, where there could have been certain differences in terms of how up the curve we are as a nation, the pandemic has really acted as a leveler to that extent, where everybody has been pushed 5 to 10 years hence, and we are there as well. What the bank has done recently is we have, in fact, restructured our entire digital organization. We have brought all our digital assets, platforms, products, uh, on the lending side, on the liability side, deposits, payment products, all channels, ATMs, everything has been brought together into one single coherent organization. And in the reorganization, we now have three verticals, and one of them is dedicated to platforms group. So when you were talking about globally, some of the banks have designated a chief platform officer. I think we are on the same track as well. We have now a head of platforms on the asset side. We also have a head of platforms on the deposits and payment side. So we're no different. We're getting there as well.
Noted your points, Akhil, and good to see some development there. But the immediate question that I have, considering, I mean, I should not call PSU banks anymore a traditional banks because they are far more competitive compared to your private banks. But platform banking is again a very interesting and unusual trend. So my question, or maybe a straightforward question, or is: Are Indian banks ready for platform banking?
Well, absolutely. I think again, look, not every bank on the street will be as adept to platform banking. And I think the rise of platform banking, I mean, referring to my response to the previous question, it's all about digital readiness.
Mhm.
There are certain organizations that have the mindset, the capability, and the capacity to go digital. There are others that do not, and that exists across industries. Banking is no different. In banking as well, there are certain organizations that are ready, and there are certain that will potentially get there. I do feel that this is a seismic shift. Uh, and in this seismic shift, either we are here or we are there. I can't talk of the industry and individual banks, but at the Bank of Baroda, I feel very confident. The strides that we've made, the steps that we've taken, the initiatives that we've rolled out, we're very, very, very comfortably positioned to serve our customers who are demanding more. I actively look at customer feedback more. And I can tell you the demands that customers raise now are far different from what you would see a couple of years back. And customers have started comparing A and B and C, and they're saying, you know what, get me the best of these.
Okay, noted your points, but and I absolutely agree with you. Considering India is a country with large millennials, the Gen Z, they will have different, expectations. And in fact, I still remember one of the CDO told me that his agenda is to create a Netflix-like experience for their customers. So I think we are heading in that direction. That's what I see. I don't know how far will it take, but yes, we are heading in that direction. But now my question is specifically about the sustainability of these platforms. At one side, banks are going on their own to create the platforms, and the other side, they are also imitating platforms created by the fintechs. So, what is your observation here? Which platform is better for the banks? Should they adopt only fintech platforms, or they should create their own platforms, which is more sustainable?
See, I think the answer to that lies in the in on a very it's a very organization specific response really, and it depends upon the context that the organization is in. It's new digital maturity, it's customer base, and not every bank has the same set of customers or is at the same level of digital maturity. My personal bias is towards being an integrator of various fintech services compared to building things on your own. And I think building things takes way too much time. It also takes a lot of investment, and that is something that I think we do not have the luxury of. You can't wait 2 years and spend a 50 or 100 crore rupees on creating something that you do not really know will succeed or not. So the right thing to do, in my opinion, is test out, be an integrator. And of course, there'll always be institutions that prefer the other way around, and which is also fine. It all depends, as I said, on their context.
You mentioned about the customer, but what is the major reason? Is convenience the major factor behind shifting to platform banking? Is that giving rise to platform banking?
Yeah. Now imagine, Amol, let me take a guess. I think you probably bank with a minimum of two, if not three banks. You're probably carrying multiple credit cards. You have, investments into markets, mutual funds, etc. Now, imagine a scenario where you actually have 10 different applications and you have to go to 10 of these applications, and you have to keep updating them, maintaining them, remember passwords of, etc. And, to just do simple transactions, manage them. It is a Herculean task for even the savviest of customers. So the customer asks, I mean, as a customer, think about it. I don't want to have these 10 different applications on my phone. It's just Herculean, right? As much as I may love the relationship I have with the institution, I would like it to be simplified, aggregated. And hence, it is very important that we think from the customer's perspective. What the customer wants is an aggregated view. And the aggregated view, of course, could be sub-industry segments to start with, but gradually I believe that it will become an industry level aggregation to provide the customers an overall view of their relationship with the financial ecosystem. I think eventually we will get there. That's the long game. But in the near term, I think we will start with sub-industry groupings, perhaps account level aggregations. We already have mutual fund aggregations that happen, right? I mean, you don't go to 10 different mutual fund houses statements to take a look at what's going on, right? You will have an application where you will be able to see all your mutual fund investments and see how your portfolio is doing, right? That's the level of aggregation you would like to see.
Noted, Akhil. But considering the rise of platform banking, many banks are going ahead with it. Can you share some case studies at Bank of Baroda? What exactly you're working on? What has been the success ratio? How are you going ahead with it?
Sure, sure. I'm very happy to share with you. In fact, this is the first media interaction I'm doing after we rolled out one of our most critical and most important initiatives, and that is the Bob World application that we just rolled out. Now, the Bob World application, as you may have noticed, is um, a digital platform that is positioned for the customer for banking and beyond. We have brought in more than 95% of services that a customer can do in a bank branch, and there are quite a few of them. In fact, that number ranges up to 250 into the Bob World application. Uh, this application really brings the world of banking and beyond to the customer. And of course, goes without saying, Bank of Baroda has a very sizable international presence, which means we there is always a Bank of Baroda branch that is working at any given point in time across the world, and that's what Bob World is supposed to be: work round the clock, provide service to the customers round the clock, digitally seamless, contactless, and deliver banking and beyond to the customer. If you're not, I would urge you to download the Bob World application. You can open your account with the bank if you do not have one seamlessly and start experiencing the application in 10 minutes. You'll probably love the experience. You're getting very, very good feedback from customers, which just reinforces the kind of work that has been put into bringing this together.
Okay. Are you also offering coffee for people who can download the application or something which a lot of international banks did to promote themselves?
Sure. No, not coffee, but we are offering Amazon Prime.
Okay.
If that floats your boat.
Okay, interesting. Because that sounded really interesting because we looked at banking as a very traditional, a very important sector, and when the international banks started banking in Asia, they started offering a coffee when they started.
I
If
know.
anybody downloads the application, sounded really good.
See,
So yes,
and this is nothing new,
yes,
Amol. In fact, long back, about 2 to 3 decades back, if you would open a checking account in the US, you'd probably take home a mixer grinder, right? And those are physical days, right? And then so this is nothing new in as such. But I mean, think about it now. We are in a very different era. We're in a very different situation now. Customers spending more time at home, so we don't really want to be offering them mixers and grinders. So we thought, what is it that they would like to spend their time on? And they
right.
would like to spend the time on probably OTT platforms. So we're giving them a range of OTT benefits. We're giving them a range of these, the food tech benefits.
Right.
In fact, we're offering the Times Prime subscription uh,
Okay.
to the customers. So all of it comes free of cost to the customers who engage with the bank. So the experience is delightful and it's very rewarding as well at the same time.
Okay. Thank you for sharing those notes, Akhil. In fact, I will take some more details over there, and we'll discuss that offline as well. Moving ahead in this, I have two, three more important questions related to platform banking. So, considering the changes that is happening with the aggressive digital and the use of platform banking, now, do you really think that the banks will become invisible from the front end with the rise of platform banking?
They run the risk of becoming invisible if the banks do not aggressively make a play for platform banking. See, banking. Uh, so, for example, banking application, there's a certain reason of existence of the application, and there's a very important reason. There's a very important part that it plays in the customer's life cycle. And as a customer, if you think about it, you cannot really not engage with your bank or your bank application. Right? You may choose to not engage with a certain platform player in the market, but certainly not without your bank. That's not how it works. So there's a reason of existence for a banking application, and I believe that will continue to stay till the time the banking itself is platformized, and that will happen gradually, not immediately. It will probably take about 5 years time to get there. I think in this period, banks really need to step up, and the banks who step up, I think, will again get to the other side, and there will be certain banks who will get left behind. As I said, this is a seismic shift. So the topic
Right.
that we picked for discussion is actually very powerful, because this is going to split the industry into haves and have-nots.
Okay, and I have two more questions, Akhil. The one very, very important question is the risk factor, the security one. As banks like you, which has, which is largest bank, in fact, opening your APIs, connecting with a lot of fintechs, partnering with a lot of e-commerce companies, and kind of exploring everything. What you're also doing is you're exploring, your risk. You are also, there are high chances that your security will be breached. So when you're going for this platform banking, new adoptions, how are you actually keeping risk as a major factor, and how are you, building the firewalls around your banks so that your banks will be protected from the hackers?
I'm on the business side, and I think about business a lot and developing new products, platforms, serving the customers better. And I drive this very aggressively. But the one thing I never do is I never challenge our security team and CISO on anything. And that is where they overrule. And if they overrule, then we submit. And I think that's the equation that banks need to follow. The security teams need to be given a seat on the table in the rise of platform and platformization, because as you rightly pointed out, the surface area of attack is increasing, and that can only be controlled if you have the right security protocols and mitigants in place. Will there be breaches? What I'm told is they can any organization can be hit by a breach. Even the Google of the world or the Microsofts of the world can be hit by a breach. So that is inevitable. I think the right thing to focus on is how do you ensure that the customer data is protected? How do you ensure that there is no financial loss? And how do you ensure that you're able to do a very quick paced recovery back to normal operations and have business continuity? I think these are the things that are more important. And of course, the front side of it is keeping all the protocols and keeping your systems updated. And that's something that we take very seriously.
Noted your point. One more point, which is connected to obviously what we are discussing here, is specifically about BaaS or BaaS, or which is known as banking as a service. So going ahead, when the battle is going on, whether the fintech will take over banks or banks will partner with fintechs, how do you see the future specifically for the banking? Will banking become only the banking as a service, or will that be, any more, what you can say, feeders to it?
Again, I think it depends upon the size of the organization and the digital maturity of the organization. There are some organizations that are better suited to turn themselves into a banking as a service provider, and but I think the larger organizations will have to play it very differently. And the see banks like Bank of Baroda have a very large network of distribution, and I think we need to make sure that the value of that network is adequately captured, and we build on those strengths. And there are, in order of priority, there are more important things for us to do rather than turning ourselves into a banking as a service provider, which is probably better suited for a younger player, perhaps a digitally native player, which has a very limited distribution network and footprint.
Okay. And lastly, before we wrap up, just want to ask you, what are the new things that you are going to do as a young CDO at BOB, going ahead maybe in next 1 or 2 years? What is there in your wish list, in your platter? What are the things that is attracting you right now?
Platform banking, Amol, is the one thing that I am putting a lot of energy on. And this is what we've been working on for the last couple of years. Uh, Bob World is one that you see now that has come out, and we're rolling out a lot of new propositions across the bank, different product segments. I'm not at the liberty to discuss many of them at this point, but you will see exciting stuff coming out from the bank. So that much I can assure you. So if you're not a customer yet, become a customer, enjoy it, and experience it yourself.
Okay. Interesting, Akhil. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective, thoughts, and the new things that you're planning to do. Thank you so much for taking part into ETBFS CXO Conclave. Thank you so much, Akhil. Glad to have you here. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the Rise of Platform Banking with me and Akhil Handa. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Amol, and thank you to the ET team for the invitation. And I enjoyed this discussion very much. Thanks, Amol.